Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Eddie Jennings from EJSLLC.com. This video is another in my practice session series for the Red Hat Certified Specialist in Linux Diagnostics and Troubleshooting exam EX342. Before I dive in, I want to thank returning subscribers for watching another video, as well as invite anyone who's watching, if you haven't subscribed, to click the subscribe button. Also, a reminder that these are my practice sessions for the exam. My exam's just under a week away, so I'm going through all of the posted objectives from Red Hat, and I'm trying to either explain the objective or do some examples related to the objective. At the end of the video, I'll do a little self-assessment, and hopefully I'll feel confident with the objective, and if not, I still have a few days to do some brushing up to get some information back to the front part of my head. Since I am still learning, these practice sessions should not be considered tutorials, nor should they be considered any type of authoritative information. I do try to have the information accurate because hopefully at this point in my preparation I have not learned something incorrectly, but since I am still learning, these should not be used as tutorials, nor should be considered authoritative information. I put these out on the internet in hopes that those who are studying for the exam might see some of the things that I do for my final practice sessions, and that might generate or inspire some ideas of things that they can do to help prepare for the exam. So within the Diagnose Application Issues set of objectives, we're going to look at identify and fix issues related to SELinux. And this, let me do a new terminal session here from my last practice session. For this, there are a couple things I'm going to try to demonstrate, or try to break and demonstrate the fix for it. So let's do server 4. We haven't picked on server 4 in a bit. Let's become root. And for this, use HTTPD all the time. I'll just use HTTPD because the application is not as important as what the concept is. So for SELinux, you're mainly going to be dealing with two type, or maybe three. Let me take a step back. There's some complexity to SELinux. I am not a master of SELinux by any means, and I think for this exam, they're not necessarily looking for mastery over SELinux, but be able to troubleshoot some pretty common problems and such. So there's more to it than what I'm going to say, but I think what will probably be in scope for this will be file context, maybe port context, and some common boolean issues with SELinux. So what we can do, there is command called semanage, and it comes, I think the package is policy core utils, but let's do a DNF what provides semanage. Fairly sure this is already installed in the system. It's fairly, I think it's a part of the what provides plural. I think it's a part of the kind of basic install of Red Hat Enterprise Linux. But in case it isn't, you would want to install it to be able to make some changes. Yeah, policy core utils, Python. I'm pretty sure it's already in here. Yeah, okay. So with semanage, we can list and look at current SELinux configuration. You can make changes on the fly with ChangeCon. I think it's ChangeCon, but rarely do we do that. For the exam in particular, things need to persist. So we'll actually make changes to SELinux configuration and then use RestoreCon to make those changes active, rather than just doing ChangeCon and change the file context, or I'm not sure if you can use ChangeCon for port context. Perhaps you can. But what we're going to do here, let me go ahead and install HTTPD. All right, so let's go to var. And let's look at, you can use capital Z to see the SELinux context. And we see that the file context for this is httpd syscontent. So what I'm going to do is, actually I need to open up a firewall port real quick. We'll go ahead and make that permanent. And within www HTML, I'm pretty sure it's going to be syscontent for HTML, yeah. And let's make us a little index page. And I'll try to do some actual HTML. So head and body. Just do hello as a heading. I'm sure if any of you are web developers, you're probably cringing at whatever I'm doing with HTML, but it's been a while. Last time I really dealt with HTML, I think HTML4 had just become a thing or was going to become a thing. Good old Drac GIFs 123 taught me my basics of HTML. All right, and this should get the right SELinux context because of the directory that it was put in. So now if I go back to my little workstation here, oh, I don't think I've actually started an HTTPD, so let's go ahead and do that. All right, so now let's do HTTP lab server 4 egslab.com. Oh, I thought the head would change like what's shown here in the tab, but anyway, I may have not done the code right, but we have a web page, so yay. Now I am going to do exactly what I said that I wouldn't, and I'm going to use ChangeCon to change the file context for this, which actually I'll be looking at some man pages for that. But before I do, I want to list the current file contexts that are already configured for SELinux, and there's a reason I'm doing this. So semanage fcontext-l. I'm trying to think of file context to give it. Let's give it this ipsec var run t. I don't know about that. This looks like a good one. Pegasus data t. All right, let me take a look at. I use ChangeCon like never. So let's see, context file. It's going to be a type. And let's just try this. All right, so again, this is not a command that I really ever use. Yeah, ChangeCon context file. Maybe there's an example. Of course not, because nobody uses this. I'm sure there's people out there that use ChangeCon all the time, and they're probably griping. Maybe I need to do this. -T for type. All right, that didn't give me an error this time. Okay, so now we have changed the SELinux context. Shouldn't have to restart HTTPD, but I'm going to. And let us use a private window just in case something's cached. Lab server 4 egslab.com. And let's try to do specifically index.html. And we get a forbidden. And the reason it is forbidden is because of SELinux. Now, as a troubleshooting step, you can set enforce to 0 to temporarily put SELinux in permissive mode. Doing that, and stuff works. And then if stuff is broke after that, then there's an SELinux issue. Now, some ways of figuring out like what specifically with SELinux is broken. Now it's obvious with this. I've changed the file context away from what it should be. There's a couple of tools we can use for that. The tool that I use more often than not is the SEAlert tool, which comes from the SE manage troubleshoot server package. I'm pretty sure that's the name of the package for it. Let's see if we already have this on the system. We do. So let's do a DNF what provides. I think it's SE troubleshoot-server is the name of the package that you need. Yeah, SE troubleshoot-server, which we already have that. So I can go to the audit log, and I believe the command is sealert-f audit.log. Nope. Tell it to analyze. Oh, -a. Oh, F is like fix. Yeah, don't want to do that. SEAlert -a audit log. And it's going to go through the audit logs and find SELinux, failure messages. And what it's going to do is give you some ideas of how to fix it. So we have here 99% confidence that file context for this is wrong and should be HTTPD syscontent t. Now, of course, we know that because I use ChangeCon to change it. Well, this with like the 1% confidence, basically you can make a new SELinux module to to allow this particular context that I set it to be used, but generally I have not done that. Now, another thing, I think this AVC, what does that stand for? It's like Advanced Vector Cache, something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head, but if you didn't have the SELinux available to you or you're not allowed to have it, you can search audit-d logs. Now, let's see if I can remember exactly how to do that. Or you can, what am I thinking? What's the command? This is what happens when it's 9 o'clock on a Saturday and you're tired. AU search, that's it. And let me look at the man page for this. This is something that I probably need to practice a bit, get it back under my fingers. But we can look for message. Yep. And so we want AU search dash message. I think it's AVC is what we want. And yeah, let's just see what comes up with that. Yep. Message type AVC. And now this isn't nearly as kind of like user friendly as what you get for SELinux, but it works. I mean, this is showing us that this was denied, and it's showing us the context that is there. And you can get all sorts of information about this, the user ID that's actually accessing the file and all sorts of goodies. But those are two ways to see SELinux errors. So to fix this particular problem, we're going to use restoreCon. But let's say that we needed to set a configuration. Let's say that Apache has been configured to use a different directory, and we need to give that directory the necessary SELinux file context. That's where your semanage fcontext-a would come in. For this one, let me do restoreCon and fix this. And we're going to make another directory. We'll call it opt www. We're going to copy index.html into there. Remove, and I could have just moved the file instead. All right, yes, we want to remove that regular file. Now let's go into HTTPD's configuration. And what I want to do, basically say, hey, go to this other directory. All right, document root is now going to become opt www. Just change this to opt www as well. All right, I think this is going to be, because we'll just have the single file, I think this is going to be okay. All right, so let's restart HTTPD. All right, that looks good. And let us see if we can load this again. I'll do another private browsing session. And we should get forbidden. And we don't. Why do we not get forbidden? Unless, all right, so now let's do this. I'm going to do semanage fcontext-l, and we're just going to grep for HTTPD. Let's see what all we get here. There's all the var stuff. What I was going to do is use semanage fcontext-a. I think it's -t for the particular context, and then put in a string like this in quotation marks, but maybe opt, not opt, but just the opt directory. You know, better yet, let's do this. I think I can do grep e httpd, grep e opt. That didn't do me what I was hoping. HTTP syscript. So there's got to be a config somewhere. Or, you know, let's do this. lslz r opt. Yeah, I'm not sure why that's actually allowing it. I was expecting it to fail because of unless perhaps USRT is allowed for Apache. I don't know enough about the actual configuration itself of the SELinux, mandatory access control. But that's not what I was expecting. Well, there's another thing that we can look at, and I'm going to do, I think it's port-l. Yeah. All right. So, and let me grep HTTPD for this. Let me just grep HTTP. There we go. So in addition to file context, you can have port context as well. And these are by default the ports that SELinux says, hey, we reasonably expect web traffic on, and we'll allow that traffic. So what I'm going to do is set Apache, let's see how well I do here, to run on port 1000. Actually, we'll do port 900. Failed. Let's see if it will. Systemctl status HTTPD. No, not start. What am I doing? Yeah, and see, this is complaining that it can't bind to that address, and there's nothing else that's listening on it, but SELinux is preventing that. So if I were to do SEInforce, set enforce. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. All right, set enforce 0. Now if we were to start, status. Yeah, I think this is probably my last practice session for tonight because clearly my brain is not functioning. All right, so that should start. Yep, and take a look at port 900. It's there, and of course I would have to set firewall to be able to load the page. But if I wanted to add 900 as an acceptable port for this, I would need to do, first of all, let's put set enforce back to 1. Let's see if I can remember this. So it should be SEmanage port AT HTTPD. Oh, what was that context name? Maybe I still have it up here. Maybe. Nope. All right, so I got to list that again. Okay, so SEmanage port. I think it's going to be A, then T for the context, HTTP port T. Now what I can't remember is, I'm just going to add 900, see what happens. Oh, I got to have a protocol. It's protocol-P grumble. T-type P protocol, and then port name or the range. Oh, good, we have some examples. Yeah, okay. So SEmanage port AT HTTP port T. The protocol is going to be TCP and then 900. Now, what I'm curious to see if that's going to overwrite everything else, or if it's just going to add. Okay, it just added. And it kind of makes sense because I think there was a -- delete for that. So now that that's added, this should look good. Yep. I know the page isn't going to load because I have it open 900, but that will allow that to be at 900 for a non-standard port. The other are SE booleans. So we can do SE bool, set bool, or set SE bool. I think -L should. Trying to remember the way to just list it. Get SE bool, that's it. -A will be everything. These are the one I've dealt with most often. Let me grab for HTTPD. Is HTTPD can network connect, I think is the name of it. Yeah, that allows HTTPD to talk to database servers and the like. Some of the SELinux things, rather than being file and port context, are going to be booleans that will be true or false, or off or on in this case. And if you need to set one of these, you are generally going to be using the -P option. Make sure I'm saying that right, because what that's going to do is basically make it permanent, because we need that. The question though, this is something that I'm going to need to practice, or I could do it right now. That's nice. Get some tab completion. Get SE bool -A grep. All right, so that's already on, but that's not. I don't think. Yeah, that's not going to survive a reboot. Or is that what I did? Yeah, that will not survive a reboot. So just for giggles, let me reboot this server. That will turn it off. What I wanted to test is if you do -P, if that's also going to go ahead and change the value of it or not. I think that it does, but we'll find out. Either way, ultimately you'll do -P anyway to make it persistent. All right, so this should be back up. Famous last words in IT, right? All right, so become root, get SE bool, grep can network. No, not gotta do -A. Okay, so it's off, and now let's do set SE bool -P HTTPD can network connect on. Okay, so that also went ahead and turned it on as well, and it made it persistent. So if I reboot, it's going to stay as on. So looking at the objective for identify and fix issues related to SELinux, I think this is probably going to boil down to file context, port context, or booleans, and we can use setEnforce off to, or setEnforce 0 as a troubleshooting thing. I guess if you ever actually wanted to straight up just disable SELinux, yeah, config. You would not do this, but I would never turn this to just disabled. But maybe if you want to, maybe you're asked to make a system be permissive, like permanently, this is where you would do that. Basically, if I have a rel system, I'm going to have SELinux on. And if I have like application people that gripe and complain, it'll be, make your application work with SELinux kind of thing. But I think for the exam, setEnforce 0 and 1 for some troubleshooting. You can troll through the audit log. You can use AU search and look for the message type AVC to look for SELinux messages. You can use SE alert if you have the SE troubleshoot server or troubleshoot-server package installed. And then, using SE manage and set SE bool to do the configurations that you want. You wouldn't use change-con because we want to have stuff persist. And when we do the Boolean, we want to use -P. So unless there's just some weird, obscure thing, I think I'll be okay with identify and fix issues related to SELinux. So if you found this video useful at all, make sure you do click like. I want to thank returning subscribers for watching another video and encourage anyone who's watching, if you haven't subscribed, to click the subscribe button. Thank you for taking the time to watch, and I'll see you the next time.